Okay, listen, I'm not big into opening statements. I do have the Coke here. I was wondering where the Golden Flakes were. Bear Bryant did get Golden Flakes when he did his stuff, but hopefully I earned that slot. Anyway, any questions?
We will start with Joe Cook. Joe?
How you doing, Coach Leach? For me, I just wanted to know if you got a good look of two local players, Malik Heath and Will Rogers. I know Will was an early enrollee, so he kind of got a head start as far as getting used to the campus environment. What did you see from those two guys in your first practice?
Well, Malik didn't participate today. I thought Will looked pretty good. Will's looked good as things have rolled on.
Next, we'll go to Ben Portnoy.
I'm sorry?
Ben Portnoy, you are up.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good.
I know you talked in the preseason about quarterback battles, and you're hoping to have kind of two guys pegged going into the fall. With losing spring ball, where do you guys kind of stand with that? And have you guys named a starter quarterback, if at all?
No, we haven't. I doubt we will until maybe as late as the week before, the game week. I hope it doesn't extend that far, but it certainly could. So we're trying to roll them through as we can in these practices, get the best look that we can. It'll be more of a sudden decision than I would like because, you'd like to see more body of work out of all of them. Today, we repped KJ Schrader and Will Rogers.
We'll go to Paul Jones. Paul?
Paul's about as good with technology as I am.
We'll move on to Tyler Horka. Paul, we'll come back to you here in a second, give you a chance to get that figured out. Tyler?
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned Malik not participating. I'm wondering if you have an update on his status with the team after the incident last week.
I don't. We're still looking at it and just getting all the facts, but no, I don't.
I got just another quick one for you while I've got you, I guess. Another one of those kind of custodial questions, but a lot of programs have been coming out and been a little transparent with their COVID cases. I'm wondering if you guys have any active ones right now and if you have anybody quarantining, not able to participate in practice.
If I did, I wouldn't tell you. No, we generally operate fully healthy here. But we've got doctors and people like that looking closely into that, at every turn. I think we have a great protocol. As a matter of fact, our protocol is one that at least initially when they first allowed us to have some work, others modeled after it, and it was very good. As a matter of fact, we have a pretty good video on that thing that Thomas, our trainer, put together, and I was pretty impressed with it.
Next, we'll go to Brian Haydad.
Mike, when you think about where you are day one here versus day one at Texas Tech and day one at Washington State, how much further are you behind in what you want to have done at this point?
I think we're a little further along athletically. I think that, we're a little further behind, just a lot of practices and work. I think that, we had good effort. I thought we bounced around. I thought that based on where we left off, I would categorize this work better than average. And but obviously we have a lot of work to do. I thought we were aggressive and explosive, but we waste too many steps. We're not as precise as I'd like it to be in technique, but we just got to keep working at it.
Steve Robertson.
Coach, how would you assess KJ Costello's performance so far?
I would say a work in progress, although I would say that really about all of them. I think that KJ's experience, helps him some. And then he's still, everybody knows each other's name and whatnot. But as far as KJ being in tune with this guy goes here, that guy goes there, And it's been a little tough because we've repped an awful lot of receivers. Just like quarterback, we're trying to quickly take the opportunity to see who can do what, and we get them slotted in the best position we can in a short period of time. But the more that gets tuned in, the better it'll be. But I think he does a really good job of taking charge of the huddle. I think he does a good job of knowing the offense on the run. And I've been pleased with him, but still we got a ways to go.
Go to Trey Mongrew.
Yeah, Mike, just with the landscape of college football right now, I'm curious if you've had any conversations with your former Pac-12 colleagues about where they sit right now.
Well, yeah, I have. I mean, it's, I guess everybody wants everything to be as safe as possible. I think everybody's concern is to be safe, for their own sake, the players, all the students at the university, fans, everybody wants that. But I'd say they're frustrated would be the best way to describe that. Generally speaking, frustrated.
Frustrated with the decision or just the cold reality that they can't play?
I think that, there's the cold reality that they can't play is going to be paramount frustrating. And of course it varies. Some thought, hoping we could play, we couldn't. And others, it's like they felt like they made the decision too quickly, because there is some more time. And then, others, I can't think of anybody that, is pleased that they pulled the plug quite this fast. But, and then, in the science, whatever it is, there's all sides of that. I mean, everybody says the science, anytime somebody wants to hide behind something, they throw science out there. Everybody says, the science. Well, you can get whatever answer you want with the science, so, and then obviously with the plug being pulled, some of them don't feel like the science justified it.
We're going to come back, try Paul again. Paul?
Okay, another technical thing. These things are fun, the Zoom meetings, aren't they? Yeah, I feel like I'm on the Jetsons. All right, go ahead. Next guy.
Joel Coleman.
We got the roster today, of course, Coach, and looking through it, it seemed like everybody was accounted for there. But is there any guys that's considering opting out this season, or any guys that are on that roster right now that may not be there come the first game?
Not that I'm aware of, but they're certainly welcome to exercise their right to do that.
Next up, we'll head over to Matt.
Hey, Coach. Just wondering what your reaction was to the schedule reveal and how that has kind of adjusted your preparation, kind of not knowing who you're going to play week one.
Well, it did a little since we didn't have camp and it's a shorter period. And then the other thing, the period's shorter. In addition, everybody says, you got this many days, and you do have this many days, but we're in school right now. So it's not this many days where you get to just monopolize, the time for 2 weeks and, and really saturate, what you're trying to teach and things like that. It has a little, the schedule, presents, hardship and opportunity for everybody. I don't really have a better way to do it. I can see, there's some schedules which maybe I'm jealous of, and there's some schedules I'm glad I don't have. But I don't know. How would you like to be the schedule guy? I mean, that'd be a fun job, wouldn't it? Being the schedule guy, that'd be like being a police officer in Portland, wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, how would you like to be the schedule guy?
Well, just a quick follow-up. Just, did it really get the competitive juices flowing, seeing that you're going to get LSU week one?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so yeah, it's LSU. Okay, well, what if it was Georgia? Well, what if it was Alabama? What if it was Auburn? the list goes on. I mean, I knew it was going to be somebody. So I will say this, and this is, I think, going to be exciting for college football. And I think that you guys would all agree with me on this. This is probably the most competitive and demanding schedule in the history of college football. Not just for us, but for our whole conference, I mean, if there's ever been an era, a day, a time where there's been a more competitive schedule, a more demanding schedule than what we have this season in the SEC for all the teams involved, I'd be curious which one that is.
We'll go back to Ben.
Mike, I know you guys added a couple other transfer quarterbacks outside of KJ and Alan Walters and Justin Stolberg. I guess, how deep do you feel like that quarterback room is right now, at least on day one, where you stand with those guys?
Tough to say. It's a little tough to say right now. I would like to have three that I feel real good about. And I think we're headed there. And, I think we do have a good mix of athleticism and guys that throw the ball pretty well. The biggest thing is we got to polish it all up. We got to put it together. And, of course, every season's like that to a point, but we're still going through some learning curve things.
Steve Robertson.
Coach, C.J. Morgan was a big tackler last year for Mississippi State, and had the big injury. Where is he right now, availability-wise, and do you expect him to be ready to go for LSU?
Do I expect him to do what?
To be ready to play opening week against LSU.
I think so. We have to wait and see. I mean, we're all hopeful, so we'll have to see how it unfolds. I wish I could give you a better answer. These, in some of these names you can throw out a little better than I can because you're familiar with them from last year. But then, but no, we're hopeful. We're waiting to see, how it unfolds and that type of thing. And, I'm trying to get strong, get ready to go.
Go back to Brian Haydad.
Coach, is Tyler Williams going to be available this year? Was he at practice today?
Shoot, I coached the ones I saw. Was Tyler Williams at practice? No, he was not. I'm not sure where he was. I guess I'll probably know here in about within the next 30 minutes.
Go to Joe Cook.
Coach, I wanted to get your perspective on just the mental. I wanted to get your perspective on the mental part of the game. Of course, a lot of guys have been doing Zooms and a lot of the virtual meetings, but now they're actually on the field putting those concepts, into practice. What have you seen the improvement that needs to be made there, or did you say, hey, these guys have really picked up where they left off from all those virtual meetings?
I thought that they picked up a lot more I thought they picked up a lot from the virtual meetings. I would say more than I thought they would, because it's a challenge. As you guys and I sit here, I mean, we find this challenging, I would think, at least I do, because, the human interaction part is, I think, a big deal, everybody there together. As far as out there on the field, it's almost like they feel kind of unleashed, I think, in many cases, and just excited to be out there, and kind of a sigh of relief and kind of a knock on wood, let's keep rolling and hopefully we can stay out here. I mean, everybody is, I would categorize it as grateful and relieved that we're out here and able to practice. And I think that the energy's been really good, and I think a portion of that has to do with the fact that for a period of time, they lost something that is very meaningful to them that they've worked their whole lives for, and we're afraid that it may not come back this season. And I think that, one day in, so far so good, hoping it sustains, and they are thrilled to death to be out there. And I think they would all agree with me on that. I think that that's really been the reaction of nearly everybody. I think, we all found other things to do. Some of us not as well as others, but, and even if it was quite fulfilling for the short run, I think that, everybody's glad to, have some semblance of being back to doing, what we've trained to do and prepared to do.
Go to Gary Graves with AP.
Coach, how do you feel about your offense against that kind of schedule that you're facing? With air raid. What things do you what possibilities do you see in terms of what you can execute against? Even against LSU.
I like the fact that we cover a lot of the field. I like the fact that we get it in a lot of people's hands, and as we develop players, are able to utilize a lot of people's talents. I worry about how quickly we can get over the learning curve. I mean, you never, there's no real destinations in this. I mean, you keep getting better. It's like, watching Jerry Rice after he leaves the Pro Bowl, lifting weights, running the hill, catching balls, even after he's already the greatest receiver that's ever played. I mean, there's constant improvement. There's a lot of things you can work on. But I think at this point, we have more big strides to take, and we have to do everything we can to take those strides. And the thing is you can say LSU or name any team. I mean, it can be any team because, in the end, what you're really competing with is yourself. I mean, all you have is how good you are and how good you can be, and you're always trying to seek that. And so no matter who you're playing, you want to be the best team that you can possibly be because that gives you the best opportunity.
We've got time for just a couple more. We'll go back to Tyler Horka.
Yeah, Mike, you spent a lot of time talking there about how thrilled everybody is to be out there. And obviously a lot of this is fluid with, what people are doing to make sure that you guys can stay out there. Nick Saban had a quote, I think it was today, maybe yesterday, about some of the pictures he's seen about guys, just random students congregating in these bar districts and whatnot. I'm wondering what your message is to your team to make sure, they kind of stay away from that so they can stay on the field. And then as a follow-up to that, how do you kind of police that? How do you make sure they're doing the right things?
We've talked about it constantly. And we'll continue to talk about it constantly. The honest answer on it is there really isn't a ton that we can do beyond that. I mean, everybody can talk about all the elaborate measures that they want, but, I don't know what you're doing when you leave this meeting, I don't know what you decided to do. And so multiply that times 120. And then, we are kind of, the best thing that we can do is educate to the extent that we can, and then go on from there.
We'll go to Trey, and then we'll have one final question.
Yeah, Mike, in terms of playbook implementation, especially for, a group of players that are learning an entirely new system, and with it kind of being more of a sprint to this season as opposed to regular years, is there any simplification that you have to use, or is it just, business as usual?
No, I think we'll have to simplify some things. And I think that's something that, we have to be as disciplined about as we can because, I'll tell you what happens is, like it was at Washington State, however many years, I forget how many, but, that was something that was built over a series of years. And the fact that, somebody that's a junior or senior that came up with this, knows this, that, and the other thing, and various wrinkles, or maybe something a little more exotic or something like that, that we can all of a sudden master that in a very short period of time. That's not realistic. And I think that we need to constantly be aware of that. And I would appreciate it if you remind me of that on pretty much a daily basis, because we definitely need to, the best plays are the ones you can execute. And we have to figure out what we can execute and what we can execute best. We're still searching for that a little bit, but I do think there will definitely have to be some simplification.
And we'll go to Brian Haydad to wrap us up.
Mike, with the short season, no non-conference game, have you given any thought to how you plan to handle redshirting this year?
No, I've got to figure out. I mean, well, I know how I'm going to handle it in the end, but I don't have a perfect answer on hardly any of them at this point. I mean, the thing is so, redshirting, how I've always done it, and it's worked out in a pretty good fashion. I mean, it's really pretty easy. If you're in the 2 deep, you don't redshirt. Even if you'd be inclined to. I mean, if you're in the 2 deep, the team needs you. Okay, if you're not in the 2 deep, then and you have a redshirt year, it's wise to preserve the year. So, I've always gauged it by whether somebody's in the 2 deep. Where it becomes a moving target is we're still getting familiar with the skills of our team. And then, so we have to make those evaluations quickly. The other thing is new guys, young guys, they develop, what they can't do, say, a week of the first game, they might be able to do by the 3rd game. And then, you kind of hope that you don't preemptively redshirt a guy that can help you, or somebody that's on a quick roll that's going to flatten out. You hope that you don't say, all right, we're not redshirting this guy, and then you end up playing him and wish you hadn't. And, you try to have as little of that as you possibly can. But the rule of thumb is if we think they're in the 2 deep, we plan to play them. If we don't think they're in the 2 deep, then we're going to be inclined to redshirt them.